All right, I'm here today with Jason Soul. Jason is an abolitionist first. He's also a community leader, a family man, an entrepreneur, and a professor at Hamline University here in Minnesota. He's a formerly incarcerated individual now with a PhD and 12 plus years under his belt as a criminal justice educator. He's a co-founder of the Humanize Hoodie movement that not only sells incredible streetwear for BIPOC fam and allies, but also challenges the perception of Black folks being a threat, offering learning and artistic events to build community, allyship, and solidarity. So I am so stoked to have you on today, Jason. Thank you for being here.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, oh my goodness. So I would love to hear just a moment recently when you felt really present in your life.
Um, it's a constant thing for me. Like most people will tell that's like part of my reputation. People will tell you I'm very present. So for me, I'm not doing a gazillion things at once. I multitask just like anybody else. I'm not one dimensional, but at the same time, I focus on peace more than money. I focus on family more than material things. So I think my priorities are pretty solid, like no matter what I'm doing, my daughters know they can hit me at any moment, other people. So it's like, even though I'm right here with you, my phone is face up. So it's like I can still acknowledge, but I'm not gonna take away from the presence that I need to be here and to do this podcast with you. So I'm a pretty present person, you know what I mean? Like most of the time when I'm calendaring and doing that stuff, I take it serious. And most people just be like back to back meetings and this and that. And I've been like that and I know how it is. And sometimes it has to be like that, but I like to pump the brakes a little bit. And sometimes starting my meetings at 10 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock can give a little bit more grace so that I can be present. Otherwise, I'm rushing from dropping my kids off and then running into something, probably sweating and all of that. And it's not my best presentation, but my heart, my spirit, and my energy is always right, no matter what the work is that I'm doing. So I experience it every day. So to answer your question, like I'm a pretty present person. You know what I mean?
That's so beautiful. And I think just the opportunity and permission to have more space in your time, give yourself that grace, be a human, not
Yeah,
be a
for
robot.
sure. For sure. For sure. Absolutely. Because that's what society tells you to become like
Mm,
go, go, go. Can't take a second to breathe. Just keep on going. And I fight against that at all costs because there were years where it was like, I don't know, I felt like a workaholic. And it's like I grind, like I put in more hours in a day than most people just because I get work done even when I'm standing in line at the checkout counter. I'll be knocking out emails and stuff. I ain't standing there just looking around. You know what I mean? I'm standing there. I'll be like, Dad, can I get through two emails? Because I don't really have to be present when I'm waiting in a line at the checkout. I could just be like, let me get through two emails, and it relieves a lot of the stress. So I think presence is important for all of us.
definitely. And finding your own version of presence, like you said, you don't have to be present waiting in a line. You can get something off your plate and have more
Sure.
time with family later. I think that's really important.
Definitely.
So I'd love to talk about health and well-being. The name of my business is Harvest Health and Well-being, and a health coach, working with people all the time on just what does it mean to be healthy? What does well-being mean to you? So what are your thoughts and your frame on health and well-being in your life?
It's critical. Like they say when you're on an airplane, you got to get your oxygen first. You know what I mean? Like people be out here trying to do the most and put on airs and live up to stuff. I don't have a gimmick. I don't got no image that I'm trying to uphold. You know what I mean? So I think that allows me to be healthy because I don't have to go outside and turn on to a different person. Like people know who I am. I wear my heart on my sleeves. I'm the most helping person. My block love me, Hamlet. And it's because like I know the main reason why we on this earth is to love each other. So if I
Mhm.
keep that as my focus, like I'm not here to be beefing with nobody or arguing with people. I do sometimes just because that's what they like and that's their mode of communication. But most people know I'm pretty chill in my day to day, and I just gotta a presence that allows me to know that things are gonna be okay, even during my harshest moments. And I'm fighting for clemency right now with Governor Wall. I ain't gonna say I'm fighting with him right now, but it could heat up to something like that. But even if I take a loss in that, it's not gonna devastate me to the where it's like I'm overworking my heart or I'm uh taking it out on my partner or angry at my kids. I don't do that. So for me, it's like health is everything. Like they say, health is wealth. Like I truly believe that. So I walk a lot. I have walking meetings. So when people say let's go walk, I'll be like, I don't really need any latte with milk or nothing like that. Let's walk. You know what I mean? So I just think health is what I prioritize. So even before I do events, I just ask people to take a couple breaths. I'd be like, y'all willing to take some community deep breaths together? And I do it with them. I do the breathing. Good. Do we need a couple more? People might say, yeah, let me get a couple more breaths in. And then we do it. So I think health requires us to slow things down. We rush too much. So it's like when I go to the doctor and I go to the doctor, even if I feel something like my allergies are killing me like right now. So you might hear it. And I was like, if this don't clear up by Sunday, because this been like 3 days where I ain't never had allergies hit me like this. And I know it's the season and all of that, but still. So I'm not like other men in that respect. If I hit my knee on this thing and it hurt more than a day, I'm going to the doctor. So I'm just not like so that was about 3 weeks ago. I had to do a colonoscopy, and a lot of men, we like just the homophobia of it all. Like, I'm not letting them stick nothing in me. Like that, it's a thing amongst men. We don't talk about it. It's whack, and it's all rooted in homophobia. It really is.
Mhm.
But I made it public that I'm getting the colonoscopy. I'm like, man, I'm 46. They say at 45 you got to get it. I'm trying to be here a while, even though I don't want to drink that stuff. And I didn't want to, man. I was like, man, I should cancel this. Like that mixture is just terrible. Like, if you know somebody who's had it, I'm like, but I did it. I don't like being sedated. I never do that when I go to the dentist. I want to be awake. I just don't like somebody playing. They're not playing, but I've been shot. So it's like if you looking at my body and then you looking at my tattoos, you might, I don't know. I don't know what you think of me. So I don't want to be sleep in your care. So that's a real fear for me, but I overcame it and I was like, I gotta get this. I just need to know. And same thing with the dentist. I went to the dentist three times last month and let them drill all in my. I'm like, really? I'm trying to keep every tooth though. So I keep telling I always tell the dentist, I got all of them. I want to keep all of them. So even though I like watching basketball, playing with my kids, doing all the day-to-day stuff, like I do prioritize my health. I stretch every day. Like when people invite me over their house, it ain't weird no more, but like when people invite me over, when I get to their house, when I sit down, I always ask, like, you mind if I stretch right? And they be like, what? I'll be like, man, let me just, cause I'm tall. So it's like, I want to stay flexible. I know people my age, they can't stretch at all. They not limber. I'm still limber to where I can jump, spin, play basketball. I want to keep that. You know what I mean? So I think health, I prioritize it. My little brother, he prioritizes it more. Like he's in the gym, he's in the sauna, he wear like compression socks, all that. He's way more on it than me, but we know health is wealth. So it's a daily practice for sure.
Yeah, and I just love those examples in your real life of what it looks like to do those things, right? Walking meetings, um,
Sure.
maybe not necessarily saying no to the latte or maybe saying no to the latte, like a
Yeah.
latte can be good. But yeah, just building that culture of movement and hey, I'm going to come over, I'm going to stretch my body right now. That's what my body needs, right? Having that
Yeah.
self-awareness and making it a priority, and you build that into relationships instead of saying like, oh, it's going to be a conflict. Like, no, this is who I am and this is what I bring. The other thing that I heard that I think is really important to touch on is just that sense of modeling and psychological safety, right? Like
Uh,
I mean, in my mind, you're like a very important community leader, right? I mean, there are so many people that likely look up to you and how you model that sense of well-being. So your capacity to do those events and say, let's start with breathing, your capacity to say like, hey, truth, I'm getting a colonoscopy and here's what that looks like. And happens to be rooted in this system of oppression called homophobia. And like, what can we do about that? Right. So you're really starting the not starting, but making sure there is conversation about these systems that may be coming in to oppress when we might not be recognizing it, and just saying like, hey, I have my own psychological safety, my own things
Well,
happening, and still my health is important, and here's what that's going to look like for me today. So that just sounds really powerful.
I mean, people don't like walking with me. They say I walk. Like my daughter was like, "You walking way too." I'm like, "I'm on a mission, man. We walking, but come on, let's get some steps in." So people be wanting to walk a little slower. So I do got some work to do. I just say that, Megan. I gotta slow down on for real. My daughter was like, "Wait," she just grabbed my arm yesterday, like, "We ain't walking together. You ahead of me." I'm like, "Yeah, I gotta calm it down." So I still got some work to do there.
Yeah, you like to get the heartbeat up, and
Um,
sometimes people like to walk leisurely. That's kind of how I
yeah,
bike, honestly. Like, so many people love to bike fast and like reach a certain mile per hour. And I'm just like, can I just look at the trees on this block? I love the
that works
trees on
too,
this
though.
block.
That works too, though. That works too.
Yeah.
Like I say, I gotta work on it to slow it down a little bit. So I'm cognizant.
Yeah. And sounds like your daughters are keeping you in check and pulling you along what they want and what they need.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. Like, I mean, my daughter just turned 18 last week, and it's like, wow, but I waited
Mhm.
in life. I had my daughter when I was 29, so I wasn't a young parent. I mean, still young, but I wasn't like early 20s or whatever. So I was poised for parenthood. So
Mhm.
to see my oldest be 18 and going to college in Atlanta in the fall, well, in a couple of months she leaving. So it's like
Wow.
probably hear her coming here, but it's like, man, I get to grow with her. She's about 4 classes short of a associate's degree, and she just turned 18. So
Wow.
I'm proud, and she's the manager at the Mall of America. So if you go to Bath and Body Works, my baby will be in. And
Love that.
my baby's all amazing. My 14-year-old, she about to do something today with the city, some speaking thing. So, and my wife, she is a therapist, so she's at the hospital right
Mhm.
now providing therapy. So, I'm just grateful that I didn't slack as a father. You know what I mean? Like, I'm father of the year every year. People around here know I say that all the time. Like, you're not gonna find a better father. You might find somebody who doing it well, who's present, who's I haven't missed anything. I might have missed one doctor's appointment for my oldest. I've been at every event, every parent teacher conference, everything. So it's like that's what gives me peace too, knowing I didn't slack as a father. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have my father in my life. He was, on drugs for most of my life. So it was like he was in and out a lot, and heroin is really powerful. So I just use the stuff I've been through to say I'm gonna try to do it different and break a cycle, and and I could see that in my babies, and it's like they well loved out here. I be going places like, man, your daughter. They be like, your daughter is. I'll be like, man, I'm just proud. So I just keep the ego in check and just say, keep being amazing. Don't let it go to your head. Thank
Mhm.
people and try to figure out how to give the flowers back. So whenever I get a compliment, I'm always trying to think, how can I give it to my mom or say my wife is amazing or my kids keep me in check? Because otherwise the ego will get too big. So I'm just glad that my kids, they keep me in check and they choose their own path. They're not about to be criminal justice professors or organizers, or they're not going to be that. My oldest going into nursing. So yeah, I'm proud of the ground that we've laid. And it's just sad. It's a level of grief there. My baby ain't never lived nowhere else.
Mhm.
Yesterday was her first night really staying out overnight. Took a go bag with her friends. Yesterday. Yesterday, she bought the travel bag yesterday, or the overnight bag. That's what she called it. She bought it yesterday with her prom dress. And, she went to her friend house who's a safe person. And, she about to come in and then run out. So yeah, I think my health is good because it's like I got people around me who keep me in check. Like I don't have any yes people around me. I wouldn't have it any other way though. And I got a lot of Tauruses around me if you're into astrology.
I so am. I saw that when we were planning for this. I was like, I want to talk about this Taurus energy, but I also want to
Oh,
know your chart. So,
my mother, my mother's a Taurus, my sister's a Taurus, and my oldest is a Taurus. So I'm around women who definitely don't let me get away with nothing. And I wouldn't have it no other way though, you know?
Definitely. Yeah, just that strength. And you're talking about breaking cycles and just really being present in that and being proud of it, but also, like you said, kind of checking the ego. And what I hear too is that capacity to zoom out beyond yourself and really see your own success also as this collective success.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like it's people who gave me grace when I was younger. It was teachers in high school. My French teacher, because I smoked weed in high school, and of course they acted like that was the worst drug in the world. They were like, "You're going to hell for that drug." I'm like, "Yo, it ain't even." I'm performing. I'm performing on the basketball court. I'm performing in French class. I never failed a class in high school, but I was always on the fringes because, like, I got a pistol in the car. I was always in the stuff. You know, people knew that about me at a young age, but my French teacher loved me and she showed it. And she showed it didn't matter no other things in my life. And even when I took falls, she always wrote me or said something encouraging. So it's like, I don't forget stuff like that. I'm not somebody who just gonna let that be like, I might forget something, but it's rare that I forget an act of kindness that was thrown my way. I don't really play like that. And my mom didn't raise me like that either. So I'm very like in tone with the fact that, yeah, somebody might be giving me a compliment, but if one or two things were off, like the night I got shot up, I was 20 years old. And if you see the vehicle, you will understand something else definitely intervened. I don't know if it's God, universe, I don't know. Ancestors, my old friends who passed away, I don't know. But if you look at that car, you will know I should have made it out alive.
Hmm.
So why would I be big on myself at any point? I would never be like that. Like I will never, because I know some people are doing some things. My mom been a prayer warrior since I've been like 14. She say I brought her to the Lord. And that's her story. She say, just because I was a lot as a kid, even in kindergarten. So to be able to say, no, I'm giving my mom her flowers now. I just sent her on a cruise for her birthday last week.
Mm.
I still pour into it. I'm gonna be with her on Sunday for Mother's Day. You know, I gotta balance it out, but I'm gonna see her and my sister, you know. So my sister don't know that. So hopefully this comes out after after
It
that.
will. It's
It's a
coming out later.
surprise. Yeah, it's a surprise. So to be able to still be present enough to say I love my big sister, I'll be at the surprise party. My mom, she already know, like I'm staying in tune every week. I call and we stay connected. Those are the things that pour into my health. So if somebody gives me a compliment, you probably compliment me for something that my French teacher gave to me or something my daughter gave to me. So I never look at it like, yeah, I'm the one. No, I don't move like that. I'm a team player, and if I play my role well, the whole ecosystem would be fine. Good. Uh, All right. Yeah.
There she is, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's my kid. Yeah.
Happy belated birthday.
She said thanks. I don't know if you can hear her. She
Yeah,
downstairs. Yeah.
so sweet. Well, this is a really good segue, uh I love the question about just like who knows why I made it through this, shooting. But really, what do you feel is your work
Appreciate it.
here on this planet at this time?
Just to be a good servant. I've been blessed to be in community with like some amazing comrades. Uh, I was able to work with some people, some amazing Native folks who brought Leonard Peltier home. He was incarcerated 48 years. So to be able to help with that and then to be with him when he got released was just an amazing experience. I never seen somebody come home from incarceration like that. I mean, they were there on the tarmac. They were there in caravan. They gave him a blanket. They welcomed him. It was just an honor to be a fly on the wall.
Hmm.
Same thing with Rep. I run an org called Rep. Well, we're a project. I wouldn't call us an org, but it's called Relationships Evolving Possibilities. And that's my abolitionist work where you could call us tonight or tomorrow. It's always Friday and Saturday. You call us, we are your responders. You shouldn't call the police because nobody's gonna get harmed. We trained, everybody we sent out is solid. And we're funded. So we don't have to do galas or do any of those things. I'm pretty much a laid back person. I don't really like I have to turn on to a different person when I'm at a gala and I gotta do things that that's kind of out of my comfort zone. You know what I mean? Like so for me, I always know like if I'm gonna come to something that's gonna require me to exert a lot of extra energy, I tell the people like I'm only gonna be there like 30, 40 minutes and I'm here because of you. I'm here because you asked me. I'm here to fulfill that. I love you, so I'm coming to it. So I think all my projects, like Rep is a 10-year project, and our motto is we just want to love you to your next step. We're not trying to get all of your business. We created our own hotline, so we have our own dispatch that we own. And grateful for the foundations that poured into us. And we don't take any money from the state. That's like one of our main things. People always like, man, would y'all do a training for our staff? Would y'all do this? And it's like, if you with the state in any kind of way, cops, courts, or corrections, we just don't really, we can't take no money from you. So I think our
Mhm.
values lead. And I think that's what I really want people to know right now. I'm a values led person, like, and I don't want to get outside of that. So I've had doses of fame, and I don't really like it. Like,
Mhm.
I don't like strangers walking up to me like, "Yo, I read that article. I read." That's not something I need to be fulfilled. And I probably learned that during the pandemic. Probably. I don't know. I can't really say, but I hug everybody. I'm a hugger. I always get consent first, though. I'm not one to just go, come in on you like that. But my mom is like that. My siblings are like that. So it's like a thing. And I just always try to be like we talked about with the first question. I always try to be present strictly because I don't want to offend nobody. I don't want to leave here and you be like, man, this dude is a jerk. Or I'm always like, I don't want to leave people because Maya Angelou said it best. Like, people will forget what you told them or forget what you said, but they never forget how you made them feel.
Mhm.
I never let that lesson go. So I just try to walk with that intentionality and not say something stupid or give a backhanded compliment. No, so I just really try to model that more than anything. And that's why all my former students rock with me. That's why I get so many letters and love online because I'm really trying to be a good person. Like, that's like my intent. Yeah, I want to make some money and be able to take care of my family, but it never will supersede what I feel like I'm here for. So that's really my purpose. I think I'm supposed to be a good role player in a lot of different ecosystems. So that's what I feel like. I don't feel like, yeah, people look at me as a leader, but that's not really how I identify. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like, I really identify as a servant or a good guest. That's kind of how I really approach like the world as a good
Mhm.
guest.
That's so beautiful. I'm just soaking that in. Tell me what burnout might look to you or how you see others in the field of activism organizing getting burned out these days.
Overcommit. Just I think we all want to do everything. And I think it means it's just natural for us to just take on a lot of stuff. Like, who can do this? I got you, I got you. It's easy to do that. It's very easy to be like, brainstorm and then take on. You look at your sheet, you got 12 things, and when you get home and the energy that went down, you looking like, I can't do none of that. Like, I felt it in the moment, but now that I'm looking at what I committed to, those are the things that cause burn in my eyes. Like, for me, I don't see myself as burning out. And according to the doctors, that's not they feel like I could keep this energy for another 46, according to doctors. So for me, that's what I'm really focused on. Cause it's like I know it's a marathon. So if I look
Mhm.
at it as a marathon, I don't have to think I gotta do everything in year one or year three, or it has to lead to this. I'm about saying what's going to be happening in my life over the next when I committed to rep, it was right after George Floyd was killed, and I wasn't going to lead a bunch of mass protests again. I was done. I had already led a lot of big ones. I'm talking huge. A lot of people on the highway, a lot of arrests, and it takes so much labor. And I was like, nah, if they didn't learn from Philando Castile, I don't really think they gonna understand. And I'm using my professional opinion. So I might say as a professor at Hamlin, like, and that's the only reason why I'm academic, because if I didn't have degrees, people wouldn't really hear me. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? So that's the only reason I really went to school to get the degrees. I knew I had some intellect, but being able to be in that field where people are about to be cops or probation officers, that's what really made me say, oh, I got a purpose here. I can actually stop this person from killing somebody. I can actually help this person see it from my perspective and show them my loud music ain't really criminal. I just like loud music. That's just how I'm wired. You know what I mean? I like the bass. I like that. You might see it as offensive, or I might be at a table with my comrades and we might be a little loud. We not disrespectful people, but to some people that might seem disrespectful. So I'm always in places where I know I'm loved. Like I said, if you ever come want to go to classics or Pimento or places, I know I could be myself in those. It's not a different establishment for me. I go in there, it's like, what's up, Tommy? He the owner. He'll let me get a room in the back if I need to. So I go to places where I feel safe and comfortable most of the time, but I'm also willing to get out that comfort zone and go to other people's places. But I feel like if you come to my places, they will become your places because you're gonna go there without me. And that's what I really want. You know what I mean? That's what I really want, where the ecosystem continues to flourish. So people know me mainly as a good supporter. Yes, I lead my own projects and I'm gonna always get it to the finish line from A to Z, always. Whatever I'm working on, I could see it through. I could see all 12 steps and move it. But I think when somebody else has an idea and I can jump in and say, you might, if you do this, it might go better. I'm not promising it, but I think it'll work. When people do it, it tends to work better. So I think my role is to be a good supporter. And I think having that vision allows me to not be in that burnout type of, because people will tell you I'm never close to burnout. Like it's not even close at all for me because I'm cognizant of what I'm signing up for. I'm cognizant when you reached out, it was like, oh yeah, for sure, I could hold that. Let me think first. Oh, and then when you hit me last night, I'm like, oh shit, Timberwolves was about to, it was the night before the Timberwolves game, and I'm like, but I was present enough to say, oh, I got 15 minutes before Anthony would start killing, and I sent you the stuff. That's what I do day to day. I might forget something, I might drop a ball, but I always try to deliver. So I think if I kept dropping the ball, I think that would lead to burnout for me because I will hold it and be like, dang, thinking about it. And that's what'll burn me out if I make some commitments and I start dropping and falling off and not doing what I said. I think I'll burn out pretty quickly. But like I say, I know what I'm signing up for. I know what I'm consenting to. And I radically consent to stuff. So I don't just consent, I radically consent. And that means I'm really rocking with you. It ain't just for this project. I really rock with you. So just don't hurt me. And if you do hurt me, we could figure it out. I don't want to throw you away. So I think that type of approach allows me to be good in a lot of different spaces. And this don't feel like work to me. So how can I burn out if it don't
Yep.
if everything I do doesn't feel like work? I can't. I don't see burnout on the horizon. So I think just being cognizant, present, and being able to like, we like to say at Voices for Racial Justice. I'm on the board at Voices for Racial Justice. I've been there 9 years. I'm gonna roll off after my 10th year, but I got the most institutional knowledge because I've been there the longest on the board. So I gotta make sure they know all the history and all the stuff as I roll off. And it's like for me, I could put something additional on my plate after I let that go. Or I could just sit and say, dang, I don't got the board commitments no more. I hope they doing good and just let it be. So it's
Mhm.
like being cognizant of what I'm putting on my plate and what I'm taking off, or when something sunsets and when something is gonna start, allows me to be able to say, I'm fully present walking into this and I'm not about to promise a bunch of stuff that I can't do. So I think that's like my formula for avoid burnout.
Definitely. It sounds like kind of the anti people pleasing pattern, right? Around just, and you were just very intentional when I reached out to you about coming on here. You're like, what does that look like? Who are the people? Like you said, you know what you're signing up for, and then you can really go all in and use that energy in the moment. And I think that's big. I think people often don't make such intentional choices.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
so, I mean, entrepreneur life is definitely different from 9 to 5 corporate life, but
For
still,
sure.
like, you could easily burn out in entrepreneurial life. But it sounds like, yeah, you're being really cognizant of just what it looks like to add one more thing to your plate and balancing that with your other priorities in life.
Yeah. And I think just being intentional on, I really don't want to let nobody down. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like that's like a real thing. I ain't trying to make nobody's life harder. You know what I mean? So if I promise, I really gotta, cause it could be more devastating to somebody else. You know what I mean? Because if I say, all right, I'm gonna get that letter of recommendation for you. I know you got to get to law school, and I keep delaying it, delaying it, delaying. I'll wear that. I hold it. I think about it. I lose sleep over it. Like, why not tell them I could do that? So I think, yeah, just really saying, I'm not gonna be somebody that's just a public success, but really I'm a private failure.
Mm.
That's not for me. And I don't think that's for anybody. So I just try to encourage people where it's like, we know you gotta make a dollar. We know you gotta figure it out. We know you need money to make it in a capitalistic society. I totally understand that.
Yep.
But it has to be secondary because it's like you say, you stop and you can smell the roses, you can look at the trees, you can take the time to consume that. That's what we supposed to be doing more of, not less. But
Yep.
society will tell you productivity. Come on, you got to be productive. Did you do 8 hours today? You only got 4 hours of work here. Oh, you slacking. I avoid all of that at all costs so I can't be a servant. Like I say, when my time is done here, I don't want to be buried with no beef, with no unresolved issues. I don't want to have people saying he was supposed to do this and he let us down and all that. No, I want it to be all peace. So I always know, like, unfortunately, this kind of relationship and interaction, it will end. And I want to use the time wisely while I got it. So I think that's the sad reality I walk with. Like, I know it's gonna be a day where either my mom is gonna have to bury me, or I gotta bury her, or my wife, I gotta bury her, or she gotta bury her, or my kids. So I don't got time to play. That's really just what it is. Like, I know this is limited. I can't believe I'm 46 with gray hair at all. But I'm here for it and I'm embracing it. And I look forward to going into my 50s, 60s, 70s and beyond if I'm able to.
Definitely living that thriving life and just being here for each moment of it, knowing
Absolutely.
that life is fleeting for each of us. Well, I feel like you answered so many of my questions that I was maybe going to ask you just in how you responded. Is there any kind of final things you want to say to our listeners? Anything that you hope that they're holding with them as they move forward with their lives?
Just knowing that this life comes with pain. It's a part of it. We complex as people. No one person is one thing. We all complex. We all got stuff that, always tell people like, find you a place to go or a person to go to when you don't want everybody to know that you got this thing you trying to do. Because it's certain parts of our lives where we don't want everybody to know it. Some people got ratchet habits, you know what I mean? And sometimes when we on our Zooms, I always say like, what's something you would normally tell people that you do? And we on this meeting, it requires a lot of vulnerability, it requires a lot of trust. And we all said we keeping it here. We did this one day. I ain't gonna say who said this, but I was like, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I'm like, I do cannabis. I'm like, and I flourish with it. I said, I'm not just a cannabis consumer. When I take cannabis, I flourish. I'm talking about writing. Everything flourishes, not from a, overuse standpoint. I'm not trying to promote cannabis either. I'm just really saying for me and my body, the reaction that I get from cannabis, it works. The plant works for me.
Hmm.
And I offer that up to people I'm in a professional relationship with, but you'd be surprised by some of the stuff they said. And then one person, this woman shocked me. She said, I smoke a cigar every night and drink vodka. She said, I know y'all probably don't look at me like that. We all were like, hell no. I'm like, you smoke a fat cigar and vodka? She said, it's bad. The vodka part is bad. And she said, the cigar part is kind of too. We never would have thought it. So it's like, where are your spaces where you can share stuff like that? Because you
Hmm.
don't have to, like I say, I don't like feeling like I got to go outside and keep myself closeted. No, people know who I am. They know what I do. If I go to Hamlin and somebody say, man, I think you smell like cannabis, I can say, oh, shoot, let me get that together. Because I don't want to be looked at as unprofessional or disrespectful. But I don't want to feel like I got to hide some stuff from you either. Like, I don't want to feel
Hmm.
like I'm a fraud. So I just think people need to really think like, what does a holistic lifestyle look like? Where you got the pleasure, you got the work, you got the health piece under wraps, you got the spirituality together. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't read any books on spirituality, but I definitely feel like somebody else is pulling the strings. something else is doing some of this work. It's not me. So it's like I want everybody to have that feeling. So it's like I don't look at myself as an individual. I look at myself as part and partial of something else, a community, an ecosystem, a team. And I think when we start walking like that, I think we all do much better.
Definitely. Just contributing to that whole and that collective and holding the mystery of it all, like it sounds like too.
Sure.
Um, well, I would love to give you a chance to just share, how people can find you online and your work. I know you have that clemency petition
Sure.
happening right now, so how can we support you?
I'm old school, so I really only get, I mean, email, but I'm on LinkedIn. I got a Facebook. Humanize my hoodie got an Instagram. But I'm pretty low key. I'm not really on social media. You send me an email or call me, I get back to you. But yeah, jasonsoul.com. What else do I have? Twitter, I think what am I on Twitter? I am Jason Soul. I think that's what it is on Twitter, but really I'm really not social media and I should be better at that. Have TikTok, Snapchat, all of that. But like I said, I keep my sanity by having a few things that I could do really well. But if you want to hit me up on any of those, please feel free for sure.
That's so great. Yeah, and thank you so much for that. I think there is such a difference between being findable and spending all your time on social media.
For
So,
sure.
yeah, just knowing where people can find your work. Well,
I
thank you
appreciate that.
so much for your time today,
Yeah.
Jason. I'm
Good.
excited to hear what our listeners think and to like keep this rolling with us. I support you, you support me. Like what a
Yeah.
beautiful partnership. So, thank you so
Yeah.
much.